Okay, I think we're recording. So welcome to week 2 of reading and vocabulary. And today's class, we are going to have review ways to preview. The focus of today's class is on previewing. And then we will have, Roy, I'm going to turn off your microphone for now for background noise. And then we're going to have a small group activity, which I hope will work better than last week. And then we're going to talk about the discussion, 12-point discussion rubric, and then we'll look at the rest of the week. So today's focus is on previewing. Now, as I told you before, the vocabulary is really important and you will be quizzed on it, but the class was reduced from 6 units to 3 units. And so we don't have time to review the vocabulary. If you need assistance with pronunciation of the vocabulary or anything like that, feel free to come to office hours. But we have to focus in the live class on the reading skills. Just a note of that. So let's take a look at previewing, which is what the focus of today's lesson is. And that is previewing, learning about the topic before you read it. And that's really critical. If you take a piece of reading from a textbook in a college university and you just try to read the whole thing, you'll get lost in it. So it's a lot better to use good. Oh, you're not seeing the screen. Thank you for reminding me that I'm not sharing. Sorry. Now everybody can see the screen, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Make sure you let me know this stuff because it's hard. Okay, so let me get the chat up so I can see what's going on there. Okay, so previewing is learning about the topic before you read. And we're going to work on this today with a very, very difficult reading text. You will not be able to read the text. I know the homework is pretty easy, and so you can read the text and do the previewing after you read it. But with this text, which is an actual university text, you're not going to be able to do that. So that said, in the chat pod, go ahead and tell me what things do you do to preview a text? Whatever you think, go ahead and type in the chat pod. What kinds of things do you do when you preview? Read the title. Good, Roya. And when you look at the title, what's important to do is to ask yourself questions about the title. Like when you read the title, what is something you want to know about that title? First and last sentence is good. Skimming we're going to come back to because I don't know that you know exactly what skimming and scanning are. Look at the pictures, read the headlines. You don't know the main idea necessarily. Look at words that are repeated, and you might want to look at like words that are bold. And sometimes textbooks will have key takeaways or keywords. You want to look at those too. Pictures, subtitles, those are all important things to look at. Good job, you guys. Okay, so here we are. The best way to preview a text, look at the title and question it. Good, thank you, Safula. That's very good. You want to make questions about the title. Kind of ask yourself, what do you know about this and what don't you know about it? Number 2, note down any words that are bold. Number 3, review images and or graphics. Number 4, review key takeaways. Sometimes in a textbook, you have key takeaways, sometimes not. Read the first and last sentence and then review any question. You know, sometimes the textbooks, they have questions that you're supposed to answer at the end of after the reading. Look at those questions in the beginning so you kind of know what you're looking for, right? Does that all make sense to everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because we're going to do an activity with a very, very hard reading text. And the only way you're going to be able to do this activity is to preview. So this is what we're going to be doing in our breakout rooms. Everybody take a picture of this slide right now. I'm going to put the reading in the chat, and you're going to have 15 minutes in your group, and you have 7 questions to answer. And don't try to read the text. If you try to read the text, you'll be lost. I just want you to answer the question. So let's go over the questions. Number 1, what is the title? Number 2, how many subtitles are there? Okay, how many and what are they? Number 3, how many learning objectives are there? Again, you don't have to list the learning objectives, just how many. What words are in bold? How many visuals are there? Do they help you understand the text better? Now that's a yes or no question. How many key takeaways are there? And that's just a number, right? And are there exercise questions to review? That's all you have to do. Do not try to read the text. Just answer the questions. Okay, I'm going to give you the link to the text before I make the breakout room. So everybody took a picture of this slide so you have the questions. So last time we had that problem with me moving around and you losing the questions. So there are 7 questions, and this is the text. So when you click on this link, you should see this text, right? This is a college textbook. Everybody see the text? Yes or no? Yes or no? Do you see the text? Okay, Marcel sees it. Okay, and you have the questions, right? Okay, very good. Now I'm going to make the breakout rooms. So let's do that. And let me take a picture. I think everybody's here. How many? 24 people. Very good. Let me take the attendance right now since everybody's here. Okay. And then let me put you into breakout rooms. Somebody's not. Okay, are you using your AUAF email, you guys who don't have access to it? You have to be in your AUAF email or you can't access it. One, two, 3 people cannot access it. I wonder if you guys are using your personal email instead of your AUAF email. But hopefully you'll be in a room with somebody who can access it. And that's all I can hope, because most people can access it. All right, I have rooms. I'm going to open all the rooms. Please go to your room and go ahead, and I'm going to give you 15 minutes for this activity. So it's 8:45. No, and I'm sorry, it's a half an hour difference. It's 8:15. So we'll be back at 8:30 to talk about what you guys learned, okay? Remember, do not try to read the text. It won't work. You have to just answer the questions. Are you all ready? Yes? Anybody? Yes. Okay, here we go. Rooms are opening. Now you should be able to join a room. And I'm going to pause the recording. If you are watching this recording, we are working on the text and we are working on answering the questions. So we're going to be coming out of the breakout rooms in a few minutes, and we're going to be working on the questions that are here in case you missed the class, you're listening again. These are the questions we're working on using this article that is now in the Google Spaces. So in just a few minutes, everybody will come back and we will discuss the article. Hopefully you've had a chance, if you didn't attend class, to do the article yourself. There'll be just a few minutes before we actually start. I think that's-
7.
Professor, we are done.
okay, well, I'm gonna bring everybody back, so not to worry. I'm glad you are.
Okay.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Thank you. We're
Yeah.
back.
That is not an easy reading. Correct?
Yeah, that was, but we are just, for me, I was just looking for the answer of the questions.
That's right. That's all I want you to do, because this is the first step in reading this kind of material, is to do exactly what I have you doing, answering the questions.
Yes.
So I want you to get practice in doing that, because the activities we do for homework in the class are easy so that you get full marks all the time. But we really need to practice with real stuff. And this is real stuff. So everybody's back, I think. So just
Yes.
before we even begin to answer the questions, what subject area do you think this textbook comes from?
Communication process.
Okay, communication process, but what's the subject?
Computer science?
Communication.
Yeah, but where does communication usually fit in the college curriculum? Would it be
I think from psychology,
no, no,
social
I would
studies.
guess business. I would guess business. Business.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, business. Although communication is important for every subject area, right?
Yes.
But you may not need to know the details of this kind of communication. Okay, so let's take a look at the questions. What is the title? That's easy.
The communication process.
Perfect.
Communication process.
Okay, now the next question is, how many subtitles are there?
There are three
There's
subtitles.
3
We're
subtitles.
talking about models.
There
are 4
Models of communication.
subtitles.
So what's the first subtitle? Let's see.
Transmission model of
communication.
What, this one here? Interaction model of communication?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then the next one is,
Interaction model of communication.
right, transaction model of communication. Okay, and the third one, is there a third one? Go down.
Transaction model of communication.
Transactional model. I passed it, sorry. How could I pass it? It's easy to see. Hold on. Sorry if I'm hurting your eyes. I don't mean to. Yeah, transaction. So there's 3, right? Transaction,
Yes, there's 3.
Yes.
interaction,
Transaction.
and
Transmission.
Transition.
transmission. So what does this tell you about the reading? What kinds of things are you going to be learning about? In general.
This
Okay.
I think that's refer to type of communication,
Right. And if you want to use the correct word, it'd be model.
model of
That's what the word
communication, yes.
model means.
Yeah.
It's a method of communication. So there's 3 different, to me, I haven't read the book either. There are 3 different types of communication. There's transmission, which means just you listen and I speak and you listen. Then there's interaction, which is where we speak with each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yes.
there's this third one, transaction model. I don't exactly know what that is because I'm just doing previewing with you. Okay, so let's go back to the questions. Question number 2, how many learning objectives are there? Well, that's easy.
There are 5 learning objectives. There are 5 learning objectives.
5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you're going to learn the different models. You're gonna learn the transition model, the interaction model, the transaction, then you're gonna compare and contrast those three models. And then you're gonna use the transaction model, which I don't exactly know, to analyze the communication encounter. So there you go. You already have a lot of information about this reading before you even started reading, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So, now, usually the key vocabulary words are in bold. So let's see if you can tell me what words are in bold.
Participant.
Participants,
Thing
message, encoding, decoding,
Decoding.
channel,
Uh-huh.
transmission model of communication, noise, environmental noise, semantic noise,
Kinds of noise. right?
Psychological context, physical context,
feedback, interaction model of communication,
And then
and
rational context,
psychological context, right?
social context,
cultural context.
cultural context.
I think that's it.
Yeah. So these are the words you want to make sure you know before you even start the reading, because they're going to talk about these words. So if you already know what words are in bold and you look them up and you have an understanding of how they're used, the reading's going to go.
Relational context.
Relational, cultural. There's a lot of concepts.
Cultural.
Okay. So
Context.
how many visuals are there? There's not too many
Four.
visuals.
There are four
There's
visuals.
Visual.
This is
There
one.
are 4 visuals.
Yeah, let's start from the top. There's this one, which is my guess is this is the transition model, right? Yeah. Because it's just one way, right? And then the second one is this one. This doesn't do anything for me. I don't know if it does something for you. This one helps me understand transition model channel. This one doesn't do much for me, but it's still a visual. So sometimes visuals don't do their job. Okay, here we have this is an interesting visual. We have physical context, psychological context. We have the transition model with the same noise, and then we have some examples, right? So that's a third one. And then we have this one. This is simpler, right? We have relational context, physical and psychological context, cultural context, and social context. Very important things. So that's 4 visuals, right?
Yeah. Yeah, ma'am.
That's it. Okay, so these visuals, in most cases, they help you to understand the text better, right? Before we haven't even read it, right? And we're already getting an idea of what we are learning, right? Here.
Yeah. Yes.
You see how easy this is if you do this process and use these questions to help you with the reading?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
so how many key takeaways are there? This is easy because it's
4.
There are four key takeaways.
okay. And are there some questions to review on the text?
Yes, there are
yes,
some
yes.
questions at the
Right. So these are the kind of
exercise.
you want to know all of this information before you read the text. So that is what previewing is. You just did it. You did a really good job. So with that being said, let me stop sharing for a second because I have a question for you. If I can figure out where my share button went to. All right, can you see my PowerPoint here?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Let me make it bigger. Okay, that's better, right? Okay, so here's my question. Based on your preview, and type in the chat box for the answer for this one so everybody can have a chance to answer. Based on your preview, what do you think you will learn in this chapter? And go ahead and put it in the chat box. I'm going to see who has the best answer. So I think if I look at all your answers, I'm going to give a shout out to two people who I think have, who's has a very good answer. And Marcel has a good answer. Raya has a good answer. Kinza has a good answer. Amidullah has a good answer. Yeah, I think those are good answers. Good job. And you have done this with a text that you haven't even read, right? So now when you go to read that text, you should know a lot more about it. And I really hope this activity we did will help you become a better previewer. So when you get readings that are hard for you, you just follow this step, right? And if you want with the title questioning, you know how we practice, or you will be practicing in your homework assignment, is making questions about the title. So I just want to say the homework is very easy for a purpose. We want you to be successful. So, you know, don't do it really. Think about the skill you're learning, previewing, and try and do it with, I mean, I know the readings are really short, so it's easier to read it and just answer the questions, but you're not supposed to read it. You're supposed to figure out the answers. Just like we just did. You did a great job. If you can just use these questions every single time you do a reading, you will never have a problem. It'll even make your reading faster when you're testing for like the TOEFL test or whatever language test you're taking to get into a university. These 7 steps will really help you. Any questions about the steps of previewing? Or do you feel comfortable?
No, ma'am.
No, everything's
Mm,
clear.
no questions.
Okay, good. So let's go on to the rest of this week. So the rest of this week, yes, Amidullah, you raised your hand.
Hello, ma'am. I just wanted to know every time that we are previewing a text, do we have to take notes or just?
I take notes. Everybody, reading is a very, you know, private thing. So I don't know what's better for you. I use Post-it notes. Do you know what Post-it notes are? And when I'm reading a text, I'm going to have to turn off my video for you to see my Post-it notes. Hold on. It's up to you. Some people don't want to write, but I have to write or I can't do anything. I have to write. That's the only way I can. Let me show you what I do. Hold on. I'm going to turn off my background for just a second. Please excuse my messy room. Okay, so I use Post-it notes. These are Post-it notes. They have sticky things. So I can pull it off and I can stick it on my text and I can write my information. They have these kinds. They have smaller ones. This is what I find very useful. If you have a digital text, I'm going to show you next week on a digital text how to do it. Because we're going to be using a text called Perusal, which will allow you to actually annotate directly on the text. But if you can't annotate directly on the text, then I use Post-it notes. Did that answer the question?
Yes, ma'am. Thanks.
And for like, you know, the bold words, I highlight them and I write them down in my notebook and I look them up. And I don't know if you all got to watch the video I made on using the COCA.
Yes, ma'am, I watched it.
That is a really good resource for you to find ways that the word is used correctly and take notes on that. So I highly recommend that you practice that. And if you have any questions about it, come to my office hours and I can help you. So let's take a look at what's coming up because we have a 12-point activity, which is higher stakes than last week. It gets higher every week. So, so you're going to have a online discussion again. but we're gonna bump it up a little bit. I want to tell you, your guys, you did great job on your discussion. You used my sentence starters. You had a really good conversation going on. I really appreciate the fact that you'd work so hard on that. I know it's not easy to communicate online and have a discussion, but now we're going to bump it up a little bit. So you're going to read this article called Soccer Speaks Many Languages, and you're going to answer these questions. Number one, you're going to write 3 previewing questions for this text. Okay, just like we for this text. So you're going to think about the title and ask 3 questions that you want to know about what this really means. And then number 2, you're going to read Innocent didn't care who his classmates were or where they were from when he played soccer. And this is connecting the text to yourself. Have you ever had the opportunity to work with people who are different than you are? What was it like to work with people from different backgrounds or with different opinions? Please explain your answer for question 2 clearly and with a developed explanation. You should write 150 to 200 words for this question. And big thing, again, I will mention, this deadline is Monday, September 18th at 11:59 p.m. However, in order to give your group members time to respond to your answers, you must post your original response by Saturday, September 16th at 11:59 p.m. If you submit it later than this, you will lose marks. And then I'm going to go over the rubric with you very carefully. But it's really important, and I'm stressing this because last time I taught this class, this was really hard. You have to connect what you read in the text with your experience. Okay? It's critical. So let's take a look at the rubric. If you have questions, go ahead and raise your hand or I'll answer your questions. Okay, this is really small, but it's also on the Canvas class. Let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger for you guys. Here we go. Where the heck is the view? Doesn't it? Oh, here it is. Zoom. Zoom in.
There's Zoom, Mom.
Yeah, view. Zoom in. Is that better or not? No, that's not better. Can you read that at all?
No, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, let me go like this. Let me do this. Let me do a slideshow and see if that'll make it. Does that make it better? Hey, I'm gonna read it to you. Don't worry. It's
A
on.
little bit bigger.
Yeah, I'll try to.
It's not visible. Well,
I know
yes,
it's not
little
really
bit.
good.
When we zoom in on it, it's visible and it's readable.
I think I broke it up. Did I break it up? That's what I should have done. No, I wish I had broken it up. I was planning on breaking it up into small pieces, but I didn't do that. So let's see if I make
I
it.
think no worries. We can zoom from our single phone.
Okay, I'll read it to you anyhow, because it's critical that you understand this rubric. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 different things that are important here. The first one is the quality of post. This criteria evaluates a student's ability to carefully read the prompt, answer the prompt, and connect the topic to the real world. You're going to lose points if you don't connect the topic. You have to take your experience and read and understand the topic of the story to be able to connect your experience to the topic. So you'll get 3 points. This is what you want to do. I'm not even going to read you the other ones, okay? If you directly answer the prompt, you make connections from content in the story to real life, and it can be present or past experiences. You post an excellent understanding of the reading, and you are thoughtful, insightful, and analytical. So I want you to read the story, understand it, and then connect it to your experience and try to do that in a very thoughtful way. Okay, that's 3 points. That's what you want to do. I'm not going to go the other ones because I know you all want 3 points. Everything else is less. And if you don't do any of it, you get 0. Okay, engagement with others. This is the important part where you talk to each other. This criteria evaluates a student's ability to interact and engage with peers in an academically appropriate manner. And I'm going to talk about that later in another slide, because I think sometimes you are very informal. And when you do an academic discussion, you need to be much more formal. But you need to connect with each other, but to use language that's academic. So the discussion post shows genuine effort to meaningfully engage with others. And I know that you were practicing. Last week was just a practice run, and you did a really good job, but you need to connect more strongly with each other. Respond to others' ideas or comments in a way that advances discussion beyond the obvious. So when you say, I agree with you, and you said, blah, 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 why? Why? And keep your academic tone, which we'll go over in a minute. Okay, the third part is language accuracy. And I'm going to go through, I do actually have different slides here for each of these to show you what I mean. But let's just go over the whole thing right now. This criteria evaluates a student's ability to produce clear discussion posts free of grammatical, lexical, and mechanical errors. Now, we know you're learning and you're not perfect, and I don't expect everything, but I do expect good spelling and good sentence structure, which we'll talk about in a minute. And the last one is quantity and timeliness of postings. This criteria evaluates the student's responsibility to contribute to the discussion fully and in a timely manner, providing classmates adequate time to respond and engage with the author. That means you are on time and your quantity is the right quantity that I asked you for, which is 150 to 200 words. If you are on time, you'll get 3 points. If you end up posting like at 11 o'clock on Saturday, you'll probably get 2 points. If you post after Saturday, you'll get 1 point. If you don't post, you get 0. So that's that. Now let me go to the next slide, because I go through these in detail. I know I do. Okay, so quality of post, understands the reading and makes a thoughtful response. Make a connection to the real world in your response to the prompt. The second one is engagement with others. Show attention to other posts in the discussion, not just one other. I mean, you can talk about what a couple of people have said. Respond to the other's idea in a way that advances beyond the obvious and maintain an academic tone. And I just want to go over this because I think this is a cultural problem. You guys use the word dear way too much. The only time in English that we use the word dear is when we start a letter, like dear professor or dear Sheba. That's it. We don't use, and I think it's because you guys use the name like Sheba John. You use the ending of John a lot. And when you translate that directly, it's dear. So we can't do that here. We can't use the word dear unless you're saying dear so-and-so, dear Roya, dear Susan. Then you can use dear, but otherwise don't use it. Okay? Practice. And here we need academic voice. Look at this one. Hey, what do you guys think about the topic? It's pretty cool, right? That's not academic. So we need to make sure we have an academic tone. And we need to make sure we don't overuse. If we could just focus on not overusing the word dear, I think you'll get a lot of points in the future in other classes. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Try to not use dear. Okay. Language accuracy. So what does that mean? That's a really big ball of wax. And I just want you to know what I'm going to look at. Spell check before you post. Okay. I know spelling is hard, but you have spell check. So please do it. Use it. Make sure you're using correct basic grammar. And that would be what you're learning in your writing class, you know, how to do a simple sentence. Be careful with capitalization. I noticed in some of your posts, you didn't put capital letters. Every sentence must start with a capital letter. And the last one that's really important is don't use run-on sentences. So I'm going to explain those. I have 4 examples here. So number 1, thank you for mentioning your tots. This is actually from one of you guys. What do you think the person actually wanted to say?
They wanted to say thoughts. but
Thus.
the spelling is in.
And they use spell check here, correct? Because
Yes.
taught is a good word, but it's teach thought. And this is think thought. So you have to think about spell check. When you do spell check, don't take it verbatim, make sure it's the right spell check. Got it? Okay, number 2. With that, I'm sorry if it's your sentence, but these are great examples, and that's what I wanted to share. Without a sure, those with greater education and life experience always read too much. Now, there's a couple of problems here. The comma's in the right spot, but what does it mean without a sure?
Perhaps they might have meant without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, without a doubt. That's what I'm thinking. Those with great, okay, and then what is wrong here with the 2?
That cannot be used in a positive manner. That is a negative meaning.
Correct. This 2, TOO, is a negative. So you want to say, how would you fix that?
A lot?
Yeah, a lot. That would be good.
More. More is good.
More, that'd be good too. But remember, TOO is a negative. I eat too much. It's a negative. So you don't want to use that one. Yeah, enough, a more, a lot. That would be better. Okay, number 3. So that was correct basic. Oh, sorry. My hand is just faster than my brain. Okay, let's go back. Okay, so number 3. It also helps us improve our understanding level of academic reading structures. Number 3 is number 3. So what's wrong with it?
Yeah, I think it's also help us
Capitalization problem.
Yes,
to improve.
Capitalization also.
yeah, it must be capital I, right?
Yeah.
I tried to match up the structure with the example. Another?
To improve, we should use the shape of the grammar. Here's grammatical problem.
What's the grammar problem?
Yes, we should use infinitive. That it also helps us to improve.
That I don't think is important. I think improve is fine here. I would take out the word level though. Understanding of academic reading structures. I don't think level is necessary in that sentence. But I'm not going to give you, if you get the capital T-I on this sentence, you're going to get full credit. I'm not going to get into that kind of detail with you guys, okay? So just make sure you spell check and you check your spell check. Make sure you're using correct basic grammar, like no, just simple sentences if possible. Be careful with capitalization and don't use run-on sentences. Number 4 is a run-on sentence. Who would like to read that one for me? I have found so many of these in your discussion.
I want to read.
Okay, go ahead. Ravina, is that you?
I read all the 4 benefits. I read all the 4 benefits of reading that were mentioned in the article, and I came up with that all 4 benefits are essential. But reading is a literal workout for the brain is the most important because I think reading is indeed a workout for the brain.
So can you,
In this sentence,
how many sentences are actually in this sentence?
1, 2, 3,
Maybe
4.
3 or 4. And this person put all these ideas together with a comma, right? That's
Yeah.
the run-on sentence. It's better in the beginning for you to use shorter sentences with a period than to try and create this kind of a long sentence until you learn the rules about commas. So I you know, this is a good point the person's making, but it's hard to understand because I try to read and I keep reading and reading and reading. It's like, here, I'm going to read the way I read it. I read all the 4 benefits of reading that were mentioned in the article, and I came up with that all 4 benefits are essential. But reading is a literal workout for the brain is the most important because I think reading is indeed a workout for the brain. That's way too long. Okay, so you have to be careful with that. That's what we call language. So that's the kinds of things. These 4 things are what I'm going to be looking for in your grammar language accuracy. So I want you to just be careful with only these 4 things. Run-on sentences, shorter is better right now because you're doing this new. Capitalization, correct basic grammar, and spell check. Okay? Is everybody clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if you want to, I believe I'm recording this finally, so you can watch it again to remember. And I'll also put the slides in the Google Spaces for you guys. All right. So you need to make your initial post before the due date. So that's before Saturday at 11:59. You respond to your classmates before the final due date. That's Monday, right? What time on Monday? Let's go back. Monday. Where does it say? Oh, maybe it's one more up. It's here.
It's September 18 at 11:59.
Yeah, so Saturday, so it's Monday at 11:59. Okay.
Yeah.
So you need to have your initial response, and 11:59. If you do it right then, it's a little bit late. I would really like you to have it in earlier than that on Saturday, so that people have time on Sunday to spend their time reading it. And then post your responses by Monday. And remember, some people said nobody's posted. You can't post your response until Sunday, because people have until Saturday at 11:59 to write their initial. So don't be in a rush. You have until Monday. You can do Sunday is a good day for you to go through and read everybody's responses. Everything should be in Sunday morning when you wake up. And then just go through and make your responses. Don't try to do it early though, because not everybody will respond. Okay. Last one is quantity and timeliness of your post. It says, make your initial post before the due date, respond to your classmates before the final due date, respond to the correct number of classmates or more. You're welcome to respond to more than 2. Okay, if you do it before the due date, you get a point. If you reply to the appropriate amount of classmates, you get a point. This isn't that last one. If you reply final due date if you reply to your classmates before the final due date, you get another point. So this is a no-brainer. You can get these 3 points without any problem as long as you're on time, right? Timeliness is important. Okay, so I have a few shout outs this week. Roya and Husna. You guys, I love this. So Husna wrote this point. Husna, would you write what you wrote? It was so beautiful. This whole conversation is beautiful. Husna Sadat, are you here?
Yes, teacher.
Can you read your post?
Which one?
The one that you wrote
okay.
here. I have it here.
Okay.
This one.
Our brain needs exercise just like any other part of our body. Physical training, your body has huge positive impact on our brain, which is not even a muscle to be impacted. Consider what will happen if you engage your brain in the process and train it. How can you even train your brain if it's not a muscle? The answer is simple: by regularly reading anything, which is one of the reading's main advantages. In my opinion, and why do I believe that? For 2 factors. First, in order to keep your brain active, you should exercise it. Reading is similar to activating your brain, or basically stimulating it, and excessive regular stimulation causes your brain to create new synapses, which is brain pathways, and strengthen those it already has, which is incredible, isn't it? It aids in enhancing short-term memory recall and decreases the onset of, or even prevents Alzheimer's and dementia. Furthermore, research has shown that both mental and physical hobbies can help people unwind. Your stress level will decrease if you just start reading, and you will have a calm in your head, which is crucial for your mental health and affects the wellness of your entire body. And as you know, overall body health is extremely significant for your longevity. Therefore, read constantly if you want to live longer.
So then Roya, would you read your response to Husna?
Sure. I extremely agree with your point that reading activates brain, but I'm not sure if reading can decrease stress level and calm people down. I believe that it depends on what kind of topics you read about. There are many topics that are more puzzling and mind-blowing. For instance, when you read about a criminal case, or sometimes reading about someone's life story or trauma causes stress. This is why I mentioned that not everything you read decreases stress.
Okay, so what was really good about this for Roya to do is that she disagreed with Husna in a very, very nice way. And that is really hard to do. And I hadn't taught you how to do that yet. So I was really impressed with that response because she was trying to disagree. But then Husna responds to Roya about what she really meant. And I want to say, Husna, you used dear correctly here, except Roya should be capitalized. So Husna, will you read your response to Roya?
Dear Roya, despite what it might seem like, even after reading suspenseful or thriller novels, your stress level will start to decline. When you finish reading a story, your body releases all of the tension because your brain is experiencing it as a vicarious experience rather than as real. And the same is true for physical exercises. While you're working out, you may feel your heart rate increases and your muscle tenses up in preparation for the move. But once you have finished, you will feel the stress release. I'm hoping that will make things clearer for you. Thanks for mentioning your thoughts.
Sorry, it was your sentence, but this was a beautiful response. Okay. And I think that because you were able to respond. So Roya disagreed with you and you responded back to Roya with why you felt that way. That is a beautiful exchange. And I didn't see anybody else have that kind of exchange. So I really wanted to give you guys a shout out. Thank you.
You're welcome, teacher. Thanks.
I hope everybody can see how you can have like a really good discussion and you can, talk to each other and it becomes a better experience when you do that. So yeah, I try to give shout outs whenever possible. By the end of the semester, everybody will have had a shout out, I'm sure. So let's take a look at what we have to do this week. Let me see, let me see not this. Where is my PowerPoint? Hold on. There we are. No, actually, I don't want this. Sorry. Teaching too many classes. And they run into each other. This one shouldn't be here. Okay. So where is let me find it. Here it is. Okay. So there's been some confusion on what to do. So I'm just going to explain it to everybody. And let me go to student view. So this is where we are right now. I did do this video for you. If you're interested in using the COCA, I think it's a really good tool for developing your vocabulary. And since we don't have time in this class to actually, you will be quizzed on the vocabulary, but we don't actually have time. We used to spend a whole class on vocabulary. We used to have 2 classes a week. One was on vocabulary, one was on reading skill. But we can't do that anymore because they decrease the units. So you're going to have to work on this and I'll give you input from your homework. So when it says this with a link like this, this is the text. So this is what you have to print out. If you're fortunate to have a phone and a computer, you can put one on the phone and then the worksheet. This is the text. You can't write on here. So you have to write on the worksheet, which is right here. And I gave it to you now in 3 different modalities. One is text, one is Google Doc, and one is Word Doc. Now I noticed that there's a bunch of you using your Gmail because I got requests for share. You must use your AUAF email. That is the only way you can get the Google Docs that we have. Got it? please use your AUAF. I saw that 3 people asked for share, which I shared with you, but it's because you're in your Gmail. And Gmail is not AUAF. You can't get in here. This is very private. It's just for us. Okay, so that's that. You should be done with that tonight, by the way. It's due tonight. It's 0 points, but you get attendance credits for it. So you must do it. And then we have this activity here. Oh, this is extra special for me. You don't have to do that, but it's a nice, I think it's prettier than the one that you have. This is the one. I mean, it's extra special, but the one that we have to do here in the class is this one. PDF. Doesn't look as pretty as mine, but it teaches the same thing, basically. So this is the text. So this is where you're going to do the worksheet. And the whole idea here is you don't read these. If you read these first, you're losing the whole experience. What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to look at the title and write 3 questions. What you think it is about, okay? And then after you do that, you read these and you match the title to the paragraph, okay? Some people were creating new titles. You don't need to create. These titles all fit in with these paragraphs. That's all you have to do here. Got it? You write 3 questions for each title, and then you match the reading to the title, okay? Easy, I think easy. Okay. And then here is, what is this? Oh, this is the, oh, this is really pretty too. I like this one. So I just sent it to you so you have it for your, different things. It's basically what we talked about today. So you have that. So this is the rubric here, so you can take a look at it more closely. The same rubric we just went over for the grading of the discussion, which is 12 points. So it's a more significant discussion. Here's the text. That you're going to read. And remember to do it just like I told you. Do all the 7 questions first. That will make it easier for you. And that will give you a better idea of what the topic is. And then here is the discussion practice. And it's the same as you did before. So how do we feel? Everybody's okay?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm
Yes,
fine.
ma'am. We feel
So
great.
the big difficult
Yes, ma'am.
today is to do a good discussion. All right, because the other activities are pretty easy. The vocabulary, everybody understands the vocabulary is the same every week. You're just going to get more words. And it's going to be the same idea where you put them in the word forms and then you do questions and it's just for attendance. And then there's always some exercises that are pretty easy, but the real difficult stuff is the discussion. And we're going to be upping the discussion every week more and more. And this time, so we're going to try to do a better discussion than last time, right? I mean, you did good. You did well.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but we can do better. So that by the time you finish this class, you're really good at having discussions. So that's all I have for you today. If you have any questions for me, feel free to stay after. If not, I'm going to stop the recording